a good buddy of mine that lives in New Mexico offered up a cow elk tag. And it's on the same ranch where my son Jacob actually killed his a year ago. And there was no way I could turn that down. But spending that much time on the road, you know, you'd hate to do it by yourself. And I couldn't imagine going out there with anybody else other than Derek.
Is this messing with you?
Oh, no, this ain't. I'm just, that burrito's messing with me. The Climb is presented by K2 Coolers and the K2 Lifestyle. Real value, real cold. The Climb is also brought to you by Killer Food Plots. You reap what you sow. Moultrie Products, helping grow the hunt. Alpine Innovations, performance outdoor accessories. Bowhunter One, makers of expandable broadheads. Nomad, I hunt, therefore I am. Hawk, high-performance sporting optics. Lacrosse footwear, done right since 1897. And Redneck Blinds, the best deer blinds on the planet. This past summer, a good friend of mine, Keith, he works at Vermejo Park Ranch as a guide, and he called me up and he said, "Hey, I got a cow elk tag for you if you want it." My son Jacob got to go out last year and take his first cow elk at Vermejo, and I would be a fool not to accept it. So naturally I did. A few days before we went to New Mexico, I had a work trip in Kansas, and I got to mix in some work and some play and got to shoot my first pheasant out there. And Kansas is known for the Royals, the Chiefs, Kansas Motor Speedway, monster bucks, world-class pheasant hunting, and acrobatic cats. Anyway, 5 days in Kansas, I left there, drove all the way back to Mississippi, picked up my good buddy Derek, and from there we drove to Oklahoma to spend a little time with our good buddy Mark.
And if you've got an atlas or a map handy, I would like you to look up Kansas, Oklahoma, and New Mexico and see that Mississippi is nowhere close to that. Essentially, he drove halfway across the country just to pick me up. Now, I don't know if that makes him a good friend or if he just needed somebody's help to drag elk and do all the stuff that nobody else wanted to do.
So part of our trip out there was just really to stop and say hey to our buddy Mark, spend some time with he and his family, and Mark's a great dude. He's a part of a group called Heart of Hunting, and they did a short film this year. They brought home some hardware with it. Unanswered Prayers was the name of it. You should check that out if you get a chance. And anyway, Mark's a great friend. We went out to his farm. We got to see what he's looking at in Oklahoma there. It's a beautiful place. I needed to sight my gun in. I realized it'd been riding around in the back of the truck from Kansas back to Mississippi and then all the way back to Oklahoma. So sighting in the gun was a necessary thing for me to do. All right, so we're here in Indiahoma, Oklahoma, and we stopped off to stay with a good buddy and great buddy Mark, which you all know. He's a bearded wonder, the red-headed rooster. And we're gonna take the gun, we're gonna check the gun out. It's had a long trip, and we're gonna try not to freeze to death in the process. Right where it's supposed to be. All right, let's go kill an elk. This segment is brought to you by Herd 360 Scent Elimination, scientifically proven to kill odor at the source.
Mark.
Uni, I'm sorry.
I don't know. I don't even know who owns this property, honestly. We just found this. We found this trail cam, which is not what you need to be using.
No.
It should be a Moultrie. It's not getting great pictures like a Moultrie would, but it's still got some pretty good deer on here. I mean, I don't think that that's something we would shoot in Florida, mainly because we never see anything like that. And our good buddy old Mark, who you guys know from his miss last year, we don't get any invites to Oklahoma. He invited us out yesterday. It was 70 degrees. And then he said, oh, it's going to be nice. And today it's about -1 degrees. And he said, let's go take a walk and see what we're doing. We're out here doing his work for him. But we'll never be back, I can tell.
Ditto. So we had pretty much worn out our welcome in Oklahoma, and you know, we had rested up from being road weary, and so we got on the road again, and off to Vermejo we went. And if you've never had an opportunity to spend any time out west or anywhere close to Vermejo, the place is absolutely incredible. If you want to get lost and you want to feel small, this is absolutely the place to go.
Yeah, and to say we rolled into the ranch sideways would be an understatement, because we literally rolled into the ranch sideways. It was snowing when we got into town, and Kenny was driving. They don't get a whole lot of snow in Florida, so there's not a whole lot of practice time there. So thankfully we made it through town in one piece. What happened?
Well, we had to take a little detour. Apparently there's a semi-tractor trailer that is trying out for the sleighing team here in Trinidad, New Mexico. But we're getting back on course now. We've only been through 14 states and traveled 3,500 miles. That ain't gonna slow us down.
The closer we got to the ranch, the more snow we saw and the more wildlife we saw, and it was an incredible experience just getting out there. But once we got there, it was time to get started.
I mean, we didn't get out of the truck for 5 minutes. My buddy Keith was like, hey, you guys jump in this vehicle. We have some work to do. And sure enough, one of the guys on the ranch, his clients had killed 2 cows that day, and they were deep down in a canyon. And we were going to have to go help with a recovery, which we were jacked about that. I mean, we were so excited to get there, and all of a sudden, man, the action had started right out of the gate. I eat hurt.
Really?
Yeah. All right, as you can see, we're working on a recovery of 2 elk right now. We've been here at Vermejo for less than 5 hours, and one of the guys that works out here filled a couple of tags tonight, and from the second we got here, it's been non-stop action. Our hunt hasn't even started yet, and we've been having a blast. We got a nice cow right here. We got another one about 200 yards up the ridge, and we're waiting on the 4-wheeler to get back. We'll strap them up and get them out of this canyon. I'm dying right now. This altitude is whipping me. Cold, having the time of my life. Wouldn't want to be anywhere else right here, right now. This segment is brought to you by Fixpandable Broadheads from Bowhunter 1. Pure devastation, combining the best of a fixed blade and an expandable.
Have you ever wanted to see what your game camera sees when you're not there? Now you can. With Moultrie Mobile, hunters are able to keep eyes on their land whenever and wherever they want. The new Moultrie Mobile system lets you view and share trail camera images directly from your smartphone or computer. Powerful features keep your images organized and let you adjust camera settings remotely. It's complete game management, no matter where you are. Moultrie Mobile. The best game camera just got better.
So anytime you've got a large piece of land like that, it's got to be managed. I mean, the timber has to be managed, the wildlife has to be managed, and one of the neat things about it out there is the employees get tags, and it's kind of a perk for being an employee out there. And fortunately, I've got a great friend that works on the ranch, and he saw fit to let me have one of his cow elk tags. And so by me going out there, I get the experience, I get to help out in the management process, and I get to bring home a cooler full of meat. It's a win-win for everybody. Hunting out west is different too, and you know, we weren't cooped up sitting in a deer stand. We weren't 20 feet up in a climber. This is a spot and stock deal, and it was all pretty new to me. And you know, you mix in the weather and then the elevation and the new style of hunting. I mean, it can pose some definite challenges, and but we had the right guy guiding us through the whole process, and he really made it easy for me.
I think they took a little bit of pity on us being from the south. We were up there, the lodge is in high elevation, the house is in high elevation. Where do we go? Down to the prairie. And we spent most of our time hunting, and actually all of our time hunting on Kenny's particular hunt, in the prairie. So it was a little bit different. You could see a long ways out through there, and you're just talking about little rises out there that made a huge difference.
So after about 2.5 hours in the prairie, we topped this hill and round the curve, and we're working our way towards this river bottom. And we looked up, and Keith's good friend Pete was helping us out. He spotted a herd of elk. There were probably 50 cows in the herd, and we immediately stopped the truck and tried to figure out a game plan on how to get on them. The wind wasn't right, and you can't just back up and go 200 yards away and try something else. We had to go about 5 to 6 miles out of our way to get in a better position to get on these cows. So after we repositioned the truck, in my mind, I was thinking we were like 300 or 400 yards off from this herd. We were almost a mile away from these cows, and we weaved in and out of this river bottom, back and forth, up and down, across the river, back across the river, over these banks, and we finally got to, about 250 yards away, which would have been a comfortable shot, but we weren't able to get the shot that I needed, and to be able to capture it on film too. So we pushed a little bit farther, and we actually ended up about 100 yards from what we thought was 12 to 15, possibly even 20 elk.
Tell me what's happening.
We got about 15 to 20 cows bedded on the side of the bank. Wind is right. We're going to try to get in position. We had one cow that gave me an opportunity, and probably for 15 minutes we sat on her, just waiting for her to take one step to the left or one step to the right. And for a solid 15 minutes, she never moved. She was looking in our direction, but just as quick as she turned her head, we were able to reposition, and then another cow actually gave me an opportunity. Good shot. Just hang on, wait. Wait, that's not her. Let me guess, just wait. I don't know where she's at. You sure that's not her? I don't know, but... Wait.
Hell yeah, man.
For me.
I think I made some shot. Oh. Damn.
Oh man. Look at here. Freaking good.
The cow that I shot, she ran maybe 20 yards and she expired rather quickly, and then the celebration was on. I mean, it was, unfortunately, I was so excited to shoot my first cow elk. It was a great experience, but it ended so quick. And you know, I won't take going out there and not shooting something over it ending quick, but man, thanks to my buddy Keith and his wife Amanda, dude named Pete, great people. Just having that opportunity to go out there was more than I ever could have asked for. This segment is brought to you by Lacrosse Footwear. Whether for hunting, working, or tending the land upon which they tread, Lacrosse rubber boots gives you the freedom to focus on what matters most to you.
Whether you are deer hunting, turkey hunting, or just enjoying the outdoors, Redneck Blinds has got you covered. From our wildly popular fiberglass blinds to our hay bale blinds and our new lineup of soft side 360 blinds, Redneck has the products to provide you with the ultimate in stealth, concealment, and comfort tailored to fit your individual needs. All Redneck products are designed with quality, comfort, durability, and the protection you demand. This year, give yourself the Redneck advantage. For more information, visit redneckblinds.com.
So I've always wondered in vehicles what that little handle is right there above the door. I no longer wonder that anymore.
All right, well, as everybody knows, I live in Florida, and I haven't had the pleasure of driving in snow ever until this week. And, well, I don't know any other way to, other than just to show you what's just happened. So a high center coming around a slight curve on an incline. The truck just decided to do what it wanted to do, and there was nothing I could do after that. As you see, I've completely ripped the valance out from underneath my truck.
Crunch, that's all you heard, and trust me, I had a hold of my handle at this point in time. We stepped out to survey the damage. A valance, I don't know what a valance is, because it was gone. Who knows what happened to it. Bumper was all bent back in, but thankfully we had rope. And if you've got rope, you can fix anything.
One of the positive things about wrapping your hunt up in a hurry out there is that we were able to go along and see somebody else, film somebody else, actually shoot some more animals. So that was a win-win for us too. One of Keith's co-workers on the ranch, he had an antelope tag and he had a cow elk tag, and you know, we had an afternoon to kill, so we figured, what the heck, let's go along with him and see what we can do.
And to think that you could harvest an antelope and an elk, or even try to do that in the same day, just seems unrealistic. So it was a little bit ambitious in my mind, but we were trying it anyway because it was going to be a great time. So they knew where some antelope were hanging out, and we jumped in the truck and went down to where they thought they were going to be, and lo and behold, there they were.
Bush, that group of three that spotted bushes, that 331. 350. 352. Yeah, I'm at 350 to the bush. 355. barely behind that one little bush.
Yeah. Ready?
Are y'all on her?
Yep.
Whenever. That'll work, Dave. That rolled her up like a freaking sack of potatoes.
Wow.
Where'd you hit her?
Right in the top of the shoulder.
That was a heck of a shot, my friend.
Yep.
So we were burning daylight pretty fast, and I really didn't think we were going to be able to pull off the video and 2 kills that evening. And we got the antelope field dressed, loaded up, and we're headed down the road. And we didn't go 15 minutes. Derek actually spots a herd of elk.
Awesome shot.
Awesome job. Awesome job.
Bonus. That's really a bonus material. I'm not talking about for the show. I'm talking about just for you. Yeah, it was.
Our last night in New Mexico, we ended up at the game barn naturally, and we deboned the entire elk that I killed, and got it packed in the K2. A 90-quart K2 will fit a cow elk, deboned, and you cannot put anything else in there on top of it. And we put, in a very memorable weekend in the rear view, and I cannot wait. I hope we have the opportunity to go back again, Keith, and maybe get another chance at another cow elk in the future.